Guys, now everyone knows where I stand and Tottenham, right? It's gone. Okay, we kind of not really predicted. We kind of asked a question on the last episode. Is he gonna go? Is he gonna go? And I felt that, given what he's done, that he will remain in place. But I'm wrong. I mean, obviously not my decision, but boss decision. Do I agree with the boss decision? I think I don't know. You know, has it happened? Yes, it has. What next? So people, of course, everyone's saying Thomas Frank would, Brentford would be the next manager and all that. We'll look at all of that as we look at this episode. Welcome to On Ye Spurs TV. I know I've said all that at the beginning, but it tells you how pained I am, listen, at the end of the day, we all support Tottenham. Okay, managers come and go, but I mean, also maybe I felt that, look, in this case, I think, in my opinion, humble one, of course, that should not have been let go. I would love to hear from you and see your viewpoints across the board, whether Ange should have been sacked or he should not be sacked. It's all a debate, obviously. I mean, we're obviously moving to a new chapter. I will look at all of that as we go along. And welcome, Chuma. I've been rambling too long. Sorry. I mean, please help me out here.
No. Good day, happy new week, come on, you Spurs Nation. Thank you so much for tuning into this particular pod. I think we're probably entitling it "Exit Ange, the King is Dead." In other ways, you could say the Empire Strikes Back, because Daniel Levy is the Empire if you're a Star Wars fan. If this is your first time watching, thank you so much for viewing. Please subscribe. Like the video, it helps with the algorithm, it helps us pop up on the algorithm a lot more. Please comment, tell us what your thoughts are about Spurs going forward. New manager, is this the same old, same old? Is it Daniel Levy doing everything he does every single season, which is not commit to a project, but say he is? And if you could share the video, and if you could click on the notification bell to get notified whenever we drop a video, we'll be truly thankful, grateful, and as always, it's come on, ye Spurs. So, yeah. It's the end of the Ange era, the beginning of the Thomas Frank era, and I have to say, you asked me when you texted me earlier on. You asked me how. I said I just feel grateful. I think very few times in your life will you connect with someone you don't even know personally, and there are very few times I think that's happened for me as a football fan, as a Tottenham fan, and I think I'll probably say three times. I like Harry Redknapp a lot. Harry Redknapp is that cheeky chappy uncle you have. The one who's always coming up with some scheme, will tell your parents don't really take him seriously, but he's a good dude. And that's how I looked at Harry Redknapp. I liked Harry Redknapp a lot. It was a sad thing for me. I loved Martin Yeo. Martin Yeo was a big daddy uncle guy, like the guy who you come and meet when you have an injury and the guy sorts it out for you. I loved him as well. But in terms of deep connections, Pochettino was my guy. Mauricio Pochettino, to me, I think saw everything that Tottenham could be, Tottenham Hotspur Football Club could be, and he knew how to get the best out of a group of players. He knew how to work with less. But at some point, less was not good enough and he needed more. And I thought the Empire, as we shall refer to Enoch as, let him down and let him go. He was a broken shell of a manager at the end of that. And then we rambled through some choices that didn't particularly fit the ethos of Tottenham as a club, as we know them. And then we finally stumble on this Australian man. This guy who is to me, he's a man, he's a myth, he's a legend. And the guy came in with a clear game plan on how to get Tottenham attacking, because to him, our motto to dare is to do is something to live up to. It's not just a throwaway thing. And he brought that in his first season without the highest goal scorer in our history. He gave us attacking football flair. He created a strong connection with the fans. And to me, I think that's something that's lacking in football. It's something where people just think of football as, oh, well, you get paid, you come, you do your job, and you go home. But he didn't just go home. He wanted to connect because he wanted to connect with the players. And I think it is a testament to the man and the manager, the number of players in the Tottenham Hotspur first team squad and beyond who have come out to leave messages of love, encouragement, and thanks and gratitude to him. And I don't take that lightly. I think it was brilliant. I think he was brilliant what he did. And you and I were just talking before we came on air. To me, I think from a corporate standpoint, he fulfilled everything he was set out, his KPIs at the start of the year. If I was doing a one-to-one, it would be work harder on your deficiency, but thank you so much for delivering on your deliverables. We told you we wanted to get into Europe. Check. We told you we haven't won a trophy in 17 years. Check. To me, I thought that would buy a continuance.
Okay.
If nothing else, if not for one more season, just at least till the usual quote-unquote sack point, which is November. He earned that.
I hear you, but the contrary view, obviously, maybe that's what Olivia and the board went with. If you look at the club statement, it was said to be a unanimous decision. I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, Spurs will give a line that's true, but I mean, kind of have to sort of maybe take that with a pinch of salt. I'm not questioning their integrity in any way, shape, or form, but I'm just saying perhaps that's and this is my opinion. It's just me expressing an opinion, not saying that fact. Perhaps that's just what you call a bit of a smoke screen, if you like, or a bit of a PR thing to say that that's not Dan and Levy's position, or there's a few dissenting voices, and it was there wasn't it was like everyone agreed that was the best way to go. But again, I mean, you can't run a club on the basis of how fans, on the basis of what you might call it, a democratic basis. Otherwise, it would be like a recipe for disaster. I mean, and obviously, listening to the loudest voice in the room, some people say that from a business perspective, I have to take that, maybe what you might call a rational decision of letting him go because he lost 22 league games in the season, and because of that, that was enough justification for him not to continue in that role. However, and I've expressed this over and over again that look, we have this so-called, well, not so-called, we have a club motto, right, which is to dare is to do. Now, this gentleman took a bit of a risk, if you like. If you're looking at all of the reports in the media and the comments that you've heard from friends, even acknowledged in the club statement at the end, saying that look, we note that he obviously won the cup, and they kind of prioritized that. I mean, against the league, but that still was not enough because they felt that they didn't see progress from the league perspective, and that was why they took that. He lost 22 games in the league. Now, I mean, obviously the counter view to that is that look, regardless, you've won a cup, right? What is the objective of this to dare is to do? Who would remember what position Tottenham finished last season in years to come? Do you remember what positions Tottenham finished when we won the last cup?
Yeah.
I have no clue.
No. Even when we won the UEFA Cup in 1984, no one has a clue. People forget that Bill Nicholson finished 11th one season, finished 13th. But in those seasons, I think he won the Cup Winners' Cup and he won League Cups. So no one cares. No one really cares. But you see, the thing is, like, you and I belong to a WhatsApp group where we've beaten everyone over the head with these 22 game losses. But it's so interesting. They keep bringing up the stat of 22 losses, 22 losses, 22 losses, 22 losses. However, they never say the other part. You didn't get relegated, no. But it's the most losses we've had in our history. Okay, but it's also the first trophy you've had in your recent history. So the two things can exist, and for me, it's not making excuses for Ange. I felt this squad could have performed better. I think players let him down. I'm seeing all these players coming out to like offer their their thanks and their gratitude for all the things he did for them. And I was thinking, yeah, brilliant, but I'm sorry, certain individual mistakes you guys made, you know, it cost the guy his job. And we were here talking and saying, yes, tactically he didn't do this, he didn't do that. But I feel a huge onus falls on the players. And I just can't get over the fact that certain things, most losses by 1-0 losses in, I think, or a single goal losses, I think, probably in Premier League history, I think that was probably Spurs. And all in all I can say is he leaves a conquering hero, regardless of how you want to frame it. 20 years from now, who was the manager that won Spurs the first trophy in 17 years? The answer is Ange Postecoglou. No one's going to ask what the league position was. No one's going to ask, well, we suffered 22 defeats. Should Spurs be in trouble sometime in the future? I don't doubt that if we're owned by someone else, they'll go, who gave us the best times? Let's go and get that guy back. With Daniel Levy, it's an interesting thing for me. I sometimes think that Fiorentino Perez at Real Madrid is his mentor, because that's the only man I know that can sack a manager, after a decent or good season. I think of Vicente Del Bosque, the acclaimed manager of Spain. He was Real Madrid coach. He was a Real Madrid player, a standard bearer for their club, former captain of their club, became manager, but the guy was so low key. But this man won, I think, 2-3 league titles, 2-3 European Cups. But the season, I think, Fiorentino Perez went out and got Ronaldo the Brazilian. That season, he had Ronaldo Brazilian, he had Zidane, he had Figo. So the guy expected to clean out everywhere. And they ended up winning, I think, the double. But they missed out on the Champions League. And it miffed him up so badly. So for him, it was like that thing was a step too far, and he sacked him. He sacked Vicente, a man who gave you everything. He sacked him, and luckily for Del Bosque, he landed upwards in getting his Spanish job. But you look at that and you look at this, and it's kind of similar. I think deep down inside, Daniel Levy wants Tottenham Hotspur to be Real Madrid, and he wants it in a different kind of way. And who are we to say, and he keeps going on about this board business. It's not the board. I think someone put a video that was so interesting where they said, the guy showed, he says, it was at this point that Daniel Levy decided to sack him. And it was, you remember when they were doing the trophy walk at the last game of the season? And Ange came on the screen and it was like, yeah, people were really. And then when Levy's face came on the screen, the boos rang out Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And you could see his face like, oh, so I'm not responsible for this victory. That's what you guys are saying. So someone said that to him was that this, when they do that, this is the moment. This is the moment when he decided, But, all in all.
But it's funny you say that about that moment, right? I also noticed something during the on the day at Bilbao, right? When Levy was holding the trophy, right? And Ange came next to him. It was rather cold. It wasn't like, yes, well done, mate, hug, that sort of thing. There wasn't any of that. I think it was hang on, you just won a cup. You should be hugging your manager and be like all excited. But there was none of that. I just thought, maybe I didn't sort of make.
He decided. And I understand everything. See, like the two sides are right. There's a school of thought that Ange should get a chance to. At least he earned another season, and another half season, whatever you want to say. People keep bringing up the Ten Hag comparison that Manchester United has sacked. But one, Manchester United did sack Ten Hag, and they've done worse. So that leads you to another thought. Then the other part behind that is Ten Hag never showed us his philosophy at any given time during his 2 years or 3 years at United. He did it at the beginning, first 2 games, he got beaten and he just became pragmatic. Ange did it for a full season, started this season still playing his football, and only switched to be more pragmatic when the injuries just proved too much to bear. So he gave us an example of what he is. Now, for better or for worse, you could say, well, it was found out, you could say it was open, it was naive, I felt he still needed to tweak tactically. That would still probably come. He ended up showing us there was a plan B. He could defend. You know, the most attacking manager in the world now defends and wins a trophy. He tells you there's another side to him. But the part that gets to me in that statement released by Enoch was, we want a Tottenham Hotspur that challenges on all fronts. Now, I felt that was very disingenuous because when have we ever known Tottenham Hotspur to challenge on all fronts? Let's be very real. Even when Pochettino was going for the league, we all remember Pochettino said, I have to sacrifice this League Cups and all this because, dude, we have to finish in these Champions League places to get more money so this guy can invest. To get what you want, you need to invest in a certain caliber of player and a certain caliber of squad. Daniel Levy does not do this. This is the one thing I think that's where I want you to join the Levy out group. In the sense that you can't ask for something you yourself are not providing. If you had given this man 2 players of each position, and then Ange made a statement as well, another thing we felt would be another knife. If you remember, after the presser at the end of the way, he said, we need experienced players, and I'm not talking age. I need experience, and that means players that are seasoned. As soon as he said this, I said in my head, oh, dear Lord, dear boy, you're in trouble here because you see, what you're asking for is a 27-year-old that makes over 80 to 120,000 pounds. This man is not going to do this. He's not going to do this. He needs
the age-old conundrum of financial management and success, eh? Now,
wages.
Do you know? I think for me, there's a missed opportunity here from Tottenham's perspective, right? Now, missed opportunity there would have been Ange winning the trophy, right? And Daniel Levy using that as evidence of the success of his, in quotes, financial management structure, if you want to call it that, right? Because at the end of the day, guys who want to win the cup, we won it, right? Have we got to spend a lot of money? No. Here's the evidence that for us to sort of prove that and keep with that manager. However, when you go out on a limb and say, well, I won't go out on a limb and say that, okay, you want to compete on all fronts, right? The other side of the argument is that we've kind of always been there or thereabout, maybe in the last, from the Pochettino years up to now, i.e., we've always been in Europe, we always sort of doing well in the league, but maybe not winning cups. But now, we can see very clearly that it hasn't quite happened of doing both at the same time, i.e., competing on all fronts and winning the cup. Win a cup now, it's now a question of saying, how do we then transition from that into winning on all fronts? I thought that Ange have gotten us there, because it's like, okay, now I've done it. That monkey's off your back, right? Remember, guys up the road, we've had that young, Mr. Arteta, and everyone's saying, oh, the only reason he's still there and not winning, if you like, is because he's got a FA Cup in the bank. That buy him time, and that sort of almost like gives him credit in the bank, right? Now, I would have thought that winning the European trophy is actually better than the FA Cup. That's another matter. That's a matter of opinion, depending on where you're starting from. Because winning this gave us a Champions League position and the riches that come with it. FA Cup will not have done that for us. That's one. So it ticks your financial box, if you like, right? It also ticks your trophy box at the same time. Okay, league places form, maybe not. However, okay, what is the worst case scenario from the league placement form? Status, credibility, and maybe a little bit less money in terms of league ranking at the end of the year. Translate that into Champions League riches that come with it, and the exposure you get with that. It is almost limitless in that perspective. So it's, for me, I just thought it wasn't the right move. Guys, I'd love to hear from you and see what you think. I know, this is a dead horse, if you want to call it that, and we'll obviously. It's not going to change anything. We're just sort of going over it and just sort of saying, look, if I had my way, I might have said, look, don't keep him, and obviously that's not happened. There are those who say that, of course, Levi is right. What do you think? I'd love to hear from you, and Any final remarks, Chuma, on this point?
No, I always look at it this way. There are two ways to look at life. You can either look at life, focus on the negative, or you can focus on the positive. And everyone focused on the negative, which was the 22 losses, and not the positive of the trophy. If you go back in the past, football past, and look at people who focus on the positive, Alex Ferguson was in a horrible situation. We've talked about this before. He was 4 minutes from being sacked from his job. Mark Robin scored a goal, took them to another round of the FA Cup. He subsequently won that FA Cup. The next season, he won the Cup Winners' Cup. And that laid the foundation for what Manchester United became in the 90s and early 90s. You look at this situation now, and it could have been, it literally is a sliding doors moment. And the only thing I can give now, as we're going to transition into talking about Thomas Frank, is if nothing else, Ange Postecoglou has laid, I believe, excellent foundations. We had a back and forth with our good brother Klaus earlier on today on the group yesterday, where he was talking about, I don't think he laid any foundations. And I said, no, you're looking at foundations based on the deficiencies. You're thinking, well, because we're defensively poor. He laid the foundations. He's changed morale, he's changed mindset, especially this winning mindset now. Those players, bulk of those players go into the next manager's chair, knowing that they have won, knowing that they are winners, knowing the sensations of winning, knowing the sacrifices to win. And I think, if nothing else, we have to give a lot of credit to Ange Postecoglou, and we wish him our best. We wish him well, him and his family, wherever he ends up next. We know he's a winner. He said it himself. I always win in my second season, and that's where I'll leave it. He has won. He came, he saw, he triumphed, and that's what he leaves, a legacy. He deserves a statue. He deserves a street in Tottenham named after him as well, because very few people can back up their talk, and he talked the talk and he walked it. So, in Ange we trust.
Thank you, Ange. Thank you. We really, really appreciate what you've done for our club. We can't say thank you enough. But yeah, I wish you all the best in your next endeavors. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.